The German Shepherd froze before the girl even spoke, muscles locked. Ears sharp, every instinct screaming that this moment mattered.
Wait, look.
The Marine felt it too. A sudden pressure in his chest, like a battlefield warning with no sound, no enemy. Only a small voice about to change everything. I share new stories here every day. And I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now, let's jump back into my story. I sure you love it if you keep listening till the end. The cafe was loud and the ordinary wake-ups clinking. Chairs scraping, low conversations folding into one another. It should have been harmless, safe. That was why the Marine chose it. A corner table, back to the wall. Clear lines of sight. Old habits didn't die. They simply learned to sit quietly. His service jacket hung open, but the scars were still there beneath it, some visible, most not. At his feet lay Rex, his German Shepherd, calm but alert, a living weapon that had learned how to be gentle. People noticed the dog first. They always did. They noticed the discipline, the intelligence, the way Rex never blinked for long. Write in the comments and tell me which part of the world you're watching this story from. I'm really interested to see how far this story has traveled. What they didn't notice was how the Marine's hands tightened every time the door opened. The bell above the cafe door rang. Again, Rex's head lifted instantly, not aggressive, not defensive, just aware. The Marine followed the dog's gaze. That's when he saw her. She was small, too small for the weight she carried. A pink dress hung loosely from her shoulders, and beneath it, one leg ended below the knee. Metal crutches framed her like parentheses, holding her upright while her hands trembled with the effort of staying balanced. Her hair was neatly tied back, as if someone had tried very hard to make this a normal day. She stood there for a second, scanning the room, eyes searching not for attention, but permission. Most people looked away. The Marine didn't. Years of combat had trained his eyes to recognize danger. But what he saw now disarmed him completely. Courage, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't announce itself. She took a breath and moved. Toward his table, Rex stood up. The Marine's pulse spiked, but the dog didn't growl, didn't bark. He simply stepped forward, placing himself between the Marine and the girl, not as a barrier, but as a bridge. His tail stayed still. His eyes softened. The girl stopped a few steps away. "Can I sit here?" she asked. Her voice was steady, braver than her hands. The Marine's mind betrayed him. Smoke, screams. A ruined village half a world away. A child crushed beneath rubble, missing more than just hope. He remembered carrying her through chaos. Promising help was coming. Promising she would be okay. She died in his arms. That promise had followed him home like a ghost. The Marine swallowed hard. He pulled the chair back. "You can sit here," he said. The girl's shoulders dropped in relief, as if she'd been holding her breath all day. She moved carefully, crutches tapping softly against the floor. Rex walked beside her, slow and deliberate, matching her pace. When she finally sat, Rex lowered himself and gently rested his head against her leg. The Marine felt something crack inside his chest. "My name is Lily," she said, offering a small smile. "Your dog feels kind." "He is," the Marine replied. "He saves lives." Lily nodded, as if she understood more than he realized. They sat there for a moment in silence, the cafe noise fading around them. Strangers watched without interrupting. Some sensed it. Something fragile. Something rare. Lily finally spoke again. "I don't like sitting alone," she said quietly. "People stare, or they don't look at all. Both hurt." The Marine clenched his jaw. "I know," he said. She tilted her head. "Did you lose something too?" The question landed harder than any explosion. He exhaled slowly. "Friends," he said. "Parts of myself. I came back. But I never really came home." Rex leaned closer, grounding them both. Outside, snow began to fall. Inside, two broken souls sat at the same table, unaware that this was only the beginning, and that the real test of courage, loss, and healing had yet to come. The snow outside thickened, blurring the world beyond the cafe window, as if everything unnecessary was being erased. Inside, time slowed. Conversations softened. Even the espresso machine seemed to pause, as though it knew this table was not to be disturbed. Lily adjusted her grip on the crutches, knuckles pale. Rex noticed immediately. He lifted his head and shifted closer, his warm weight pressing gently against her leg. She smiled down at him. "He listens better than most people," she said. The Marine almost laughed, but the sound caught in his throat. "He listens because he's had to," he replied. "Out there, missing a sound can cost lives." Lily traced a finger along the edge of the table. "I had to learn to listen to," she said softly. "To my body. To my balance. To fear." That word made the Marine stiffen. "Fear keeps you alive," he said automatically. She shook her head. "Sometimes it keeps you small." The Marine looked at Hurley, looked this time at the faint scars on her hands, the careful way she held herself upright, the quiet discipline in every movement. She reminded him of soldiers he trusted with his life, the ones who never complained, the ones who just kept moving. "What happened?" he asked. Lily hesitated, not because she was ashamed, but because she was tired of telling it. "A car," she said. "A drunk driver. One second I was crossing the street. The next." She shrugged. "Everyone says I'm lucky to be alive." The Marine's jaw tightened. "They always say that," he murmured. "They don't see what's gone," Lily continued. "They don't see the dreams that don't fit anymore." She glanced down at her leg. "I wanted to dance." The word echoed. Dance. The Marine's thoughts spiraled, boots pounding pavement. Commands shouted into chaos. The rhythm of survival drilled into muscle memory. He'd once believed he'd return home and move to a different rhythm. That belief had died overseas. "I used to think I could protect everyone," he said, quietly. "Then I learned how wrong I was." Lily looked up at him. Her eyes were steady, curious. "Is that why you're sad?" The Marine opened his mouth and closed it again. No, battlefield briefing had prepared him for that question. Before he could answer, the cafe door slammed open. Cold air rushed in. Rex stood instantly. Every muscle in the dog's body tightened. Posture shifting from calm to ready. Heads turned. Conversations stopped. A man stumbled inside, voice loud, movements sharp. The smell of alcohol trailing behind him like smoke. Lily flinched. The Marine's chair scraped back as he rose halfway, instincts flaring. His heart pounded, old alarms screaming in his head. Rex stepped forward, placing himself between Lily and the stranger, low and unmoving. The man laughed. "Easy, boy," he slurred. The Marine's hands curled into fists. For one terrifying second, the cafe was no longer a cafe. It was a checkpoint, a threat, a mistake waiting to happen. Then Lily spoke. "It's okay," she said softly to Rex. The dog hesitated. Then, slowly, impossibly, he relaxed. Sat down, stayed close. The drunk man muttered something and staggered toward the counter. Unaware of how close he'd come to disaster, the Marine exhaled. Realizing he'd been holding his breath, Lily's hands were shaking again. "I don't like loud entrances," she admitted. "They remind me of the crash." The Marine sat back down, forcing his body to stand down. "You were brave," he said. She shook her head. "No, I was scared. I just didn't run." Something in her words hit him hard. That was it, wasn't it? Courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was staying when everything inside you screamed to escape. The cafe slowly returned to life. But the Marine felt changelike a line had been crossed. Lily glanced at Rex. How did you meet him? The Marine rested a hand on the dog's head. His voice dropped. He pulled me out of a burning vehicle. Under fire. Wouldn't let go. Lily's eyes widened. So he saved you? Yes, the Marine said. More than once. She smiled gently. Then, maybe, you saved each other. The Marine looked at her, heart pounding not from danger, but from a truth he'd been avoiding. Outside, the snow kept falling. Inside, something fragile was forming. But neither of them noticed the woman at the corner table watching them closely, or the way Rex's ears flicked in her direction, sensing that this quiet moment was being seen for reasons they didn't yet understand. The woman at the corner table hadn't taken her eyes off them since the moment Rex stood down. Her coffee sat untouched, steam fading, forgotten. To anyone else, she looked like just another customer passing time. To Rex, she was a question. Markhand questions were never ignored. I share news stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. The Marine noticed the shift in Rex first. A subtle change. The dog's ears angled slightly, his breathing slowing in a way that meant he was listening, not resting. Years together had taught the Marine to trust that signal. You okay, buddy? Lily whispered, stroking Rex's fur. Rex didn't move away, but he didn't lean into her touch either. The Marine followed the dog's line of sight and saw the woman. Mid-40s, clean coat, calm posture, to calm. Her eyes held the sharp stillness of someone trained to observe without being noticed. Do you know her? Lily asked. No, the Marine said, unease creeping up his spine. But Rex is paying attention. That alone was enough. The woman stood and approached slowly, hands visible, movements measured. She stopped a respectful distance from the table. Sorry to interrupt, she said gently, but I couldn't help noticing your dog. Rex remained seated, alert but silent. He's former military, the Marine replied. So am I. The woman nodded. I thought so. Something in her tone tightened the air. My name is Claire, she said. I work with a veterans rehabilitation program. The Marine stiffened. I didn't sign up for anything. Claire smiled, not offended. I'm not recruiting, I was. Observing? Lily frowned. Observing what? Claire's gaze softened as it settled on Lily. Resilience, she said, and connection. The Marine didn't like that word. Connection. It implied vulnerability. It implied being seen. I'm fine, he said shortly. I know, Claire replied. That's usually what the strongest people say. Rex let out a quiet huff. Claire noticed. May I sit? She asked, not at the table, but at the empty chair nearby. The Marine hesitated, then nodded. Claire sat. I lost my brother overseas, she said, without preamble. Marine Corps, K-9 unit. The Marine's breath caught. He never came home, she continued. But his dog did. Rex lifted his head fully now. Claire swallowed. I see a lot of men who think surviving means they failed, and dogs who carry memories no one asks them about. Lily looked between them. Rex remembers things. The Marine answered quietly. Yes. Claire leaned forward slightly. I saw the way he reacted when that man came in. And the way he stood down for you, she said to Lily. That's not obedience. That's trust. Lily's eyes shone. He makes me feel safe. The Marine felt something twist inside him, protective, painful, familiar talk. Claire stood. I won't intrude further, she said. But if you ever want help carrying what you brought home. She slid a card onto the table. You don't have to do it alone. She left without waiting for an answer. The cafe exhaled again. Lily picked up the card, reading it slowly. "You don't look like someone who asks for help." The Marine stared at the table. "I don't know how." She considered that. "I didn't either. I still don't, but I learned how to ask for space. And time. And kindness." Rex nudged the Marine's knee. The Marine blinked hard. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time was strange like that. Eventually, Lily adjusted her crutches. "I should go," she said. "My mom worries if I'm late." The Marine stood immediately. Rex rose with him, positioning himself close to Lily without crowding her. "Thank you," Lily said, looking up at the Marine, "for letting me sit here." He swallowed. "Thank you for asking." As she turned toward the door, her crutch slipped slightly on the tile. The Marine moved without thinking, hands out, steadying her. For one frozen heartbeat, he felt it again. The same panic. The same fear of being too late. But Lily steadied herself. "I've got it," she said firmly. She smiled. Strong, certain. "I'm not broken," she added. The Marine nodded, throat tight. "No," he said. "You're not." As Lily left, Rex watched the door long after it closed. The Marine sat back down. Heart pounding not from danger, but from something worse. Hope, because now that he'd felt it, he wasn't sure how to survive without it. And something told him this wasn't the last time. Lily and Rex would test the promises he thought he'd already broken. The chair across from the Marine stayed empty long after Lily left. But the space she'd occupied felt heavier than any gear he'd ever carried. Rex circled once and lay down again, nose pointed toward the door, as if waiting for a command that never came. The Marine stared at Claire's card. Veterans Rehabilitation Program. He turned it over. Then back again, Rex let out a low whine. "Don't," the Marine murmured. "I'm fine." The lie tasted familiar. Outside, the snow had begun to melt, turning white streets into gray slush. The world moving on, as it always did. The Marine finished his coffee without tasting it, paid, and stood. Rex moved in perfect sync beside him. Together, they stepped back into the cold, halfway down the block. Rex stopped, not hesitated. Stopped. The Marine followed his gaze. Across the street. Lily stood on the sidewalk, arguing quietly with her mother. Her crutches rested awkwardly against the curb, traffic rushing past. Her mother looked distracted, phone pressed to her ear. Tension split. A car, honked, too close. The Marine's chest tightened. Rex lunged forward. Leash snapping taut. "Rex!" The Marine shouted. The sound of tires skidding ripped through the air. Time fractured. Lily's crutch slipped into the street. Her balance broke. The Marine ran. He didn't remember crossing the road. He didn't hear the shouting. All he saw was a small body falling, the memory of another child. Overlaying the present like a cruel echo, he reached her just as she went down. His arms wrapped around her, twisting his body to shield hers as they hit the pavement. Pain exploded through his shoulder, sharp and grounding. Rex barked one fierce, commanding sound, forcing the car to stop inches away. Silence followed, then chaos. People shouted. Someone screamed. A door slammed. The Marine pushed himself up, heart hammering. Lily was in his arms, shaking but alive. "I've got you," he whispered. "I've got you." She clutched his jacket, breath hitching. I thought I was going to." "I know," he said, voice breaking. "I know." Her mother rushed over, face pale. "Oh my God. Lily, are you hurt?" Lily shook her head. "I'm okay." The Marine carefully helped her sit up. Rex stood guard, body rigid. Ties locked on the car until it slowly backed away. The Marine realized his hands were trembling. Lily looked up at him. "You didn't let go." The words hit like a punch. He swallowed. No, this time he hadn't. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone called the police. Someone else offered a blanket. The Marine waved them off once Lily's mother arrived fully, wrapping her daughter in shaking arms. "Thank you," her mother whispered to him. "Thank you for saving her." The Marine stepped back, suddenly unsure of where he belonged. Rex pressed against his leg. Lily reached out, grabbing the sleeve of his jacket. "You promised," she said quietly. The Marine froze. "I did." "You said your dog saves lives," she replied. "That means you do too." Her gaze was steady, knowing something inside him finally gave way. The police arrived. Statements were taken. The Marine answered automatically, like he'd done 1,000 times before. But inside, everything was different, because this time, the nightmare had ended differently. As Lily was guided toward the car, she looked back. "Will I see you again?" The Marine hesitated. Claire's card burned in his pocket. "I don't know," he admitted. Lily smiled anyway. "That's okay. Just don't disappear." She was gone before he could respond. That night, the Marine didn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, Rex's head heavy on his knee, replaying the moment over and over. The fall, the catch. The weight of a life in his arms that didn't slip away. At dawn, he picked up the card, his hand hovered. Then he dialed. "Veterans Rehabilitation Program." A voice answered. The Marine closed his eyes. "My name," is his voice cracked. He steadied himself. "I think I'm ready to talk." Rex thumped his tail. Outside, the sun rose over melting snow. But somewhere deep inside the Marine, a long frozen battlefield finally went quiet. Even as fate prepared one last test that would demand more courage than war ever had. The rehabilitation center didn't look like a place where broken people went to be fixed. That surprised the Marine. No white walls. No sterile silence. Just warm light, quiet hallways, and the faint sound of laughter somewhere down the corridorial laughter. Not forced, Rex walked at his side, leash loose. Eyes alert. If you like this story, hit subscribe and like my video. I share new stories every day. The Marine's pulse thudded in his ears. Every step felt heavier than marching into combat. War had rules. This didn't single quotes. Claire met them at the door. "You came," she said, not smiling, not surprised. "Just present." "I almost didn't," the Marine admitted. "Almost counts," she replied. "Come in." The first sessions were brutal not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. The Marine sat in silence while others spoke. Soldiers, medics, parents. Each story peeled something raw open inside him. Rex lay at his feet the entire time, steady as a heartbeat. Then one day, the therapist asked a simple question. "What do you feel guilty about?" The room went quiet. The Marine's mouth opened. Nothing came out. His chest tightened. His vision blurred. His hands clenched into fists so hard his knuckles ached. Rex stood and placed his head in the Marine's lap. The Marine broke. Words poured out about promises made in smoke-filled ruins. About carrying children who never woke up. About coming home alive when others didn't. About the moment in the cafe and the moment in the street. And the terror of realizing how close he'd come to losing Lily too. "I don't trust myself," he whispered, "because I don't always win." The therapist nodded gently. "No one does." That night, the Marine dreamed. Fire, screams, a child's hand slipping from his grasp. He woke, gasping, heart racing. But this time, Rex was there, solid, breathing, real. Weeks passed, healing didn't arrive in a straight line. Some days were quiet victories. Others were setbacks that left him shaking. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, the weight shifted. Then Claire approached him one afternoon with a folder. "There's a community event this weekend," she said. "Adaptive sports, families, veterans, I think you should come." "I don't do crowds," the Marine replied automatically. Claire tilted her head. "Lily will be there." The Marine's breath caught. "She asked about you," Claire added. Said the man with the brave dog helped her remember she wasn't broken. Silence stretched between them. "I'll go," he said finally. The park was alive with color wheelchairs racing, prosthetics gleaming, children laughing without restraint. The Marine stood at the edge, overwhelmed. Rex stayed close, grounding him. Then he saw her. Lily sat near the track, wearing a bright jacket, her crutches resting beside her. She was laughing, really laughing. As another child showed her a medal, she spotted him. Her face lit up. "You came," she called, waving. The Marine moved toward her before fear could stop him. Rex trotted ahead, tail wagging. "You didn't disappear," Lily said proudly. "No," the Marine replied. "I'm trying not to." She studied him, eyes sharp. "You look different." He nodded. "I feel different." They watched the races together. Lily told him she was learning to run with a blade, that it hurt, that she was scared, that she was doing it anyway. "I fall a lot," she admitted. "So do I." He said. A sudden commotion broke out near the track. Shouting, a collision. A wheelchair tipped, another child crying in panic. The Marine's body reacted instantly, heart racing, vision narrowing, adrenaline surging. Old instincts screamed at him to take control. Rex barked once. The Marine froze, breathed, then moved slow. Deliberate, he helped right the chair. Spoke calmly. Let others assist. No chaos, no commands. Just presence. When it was over, he realized his hands weren't shaking. Lily noticed. "You stayed," she said. She replied. She smiled softly. "That's bravery." As the sun dipped low, Lily adjusted her crutches. "I have a competition next month," she said. "Will you come?" The Marine hesitated, fear flickering. Then he remembered the street. The catch. The promise kept. "I will," he said. Rex wagged his tail. But as they stood together, neither noticed the man watching from a distance, the same drunk driver from weeks ago, hard jaw tight. Blame festering into something dangerous, and fate, unfinished, began to move again. The competition day arrived under a low, steel-colored sky. Wind moved through the stands like a restless breath, rattling banners and flags. The Marine stood near the track, hands clasped behind his back, posture calm but coiled. Rex sat at his heel, eyes scanning, ears flicking, working without being told. Lily was warming up on the far end of the field. She wore her running blade, now sleek, curved, unfamiliar, and powerful all at once. Each step was careful, practiced, earned. The crowd murmured, a mix of encouragement and curiosity. To Lily, it sounded like the ocean loud. Endless, impossible to control. She spotted. The Marine and Rex dot her shoulders. Straightened, that was enough. The whistle blew, runners launched forward. Lily stumbled on the first stride, caught herself, then found rhythm. The blade flexed, returned energy, answered her courage with motion. She ran, not perfectly, not easily, but fiercely. The Marine felt his chest tighten as if he were back on patrol, watching someone brave step into danger. Halfway down the track, Rex's ears snapped forward. The Marine felt it too. A disturbance. Not loud. Focused near the fence line, a man pushed through the crowd. Jaw tight. eyes locked on the track. On Lily, on the blade, the Marine recognized him. Instantly, the driver, the one who'd nearly ended everything. Rex stood. The Marine's breath slowed not. Panic. Rage control? He moved without rushing, placing himself between the man and the fence. "You need to step back," the Marine said, voice low. The man sneered. "She shouldn't even be out there." "Freak show." Rex growled a pinal. People nearby turned. Security noticed. The man took a step forward anyway, hand lifting whether to point, to shove, to throw. It didn't matter. The Marine didn't strike. He blocked, one arm out. Body angled, grounded. "Enough," he said. For a split second, the world balanced on a knife edge. Then security rushed in. Hands grabbed the man's arms. Voices rose. The threat dissolved into noise and distance. Rex sat. The Marine exhaled. On the track, Lily crossed the finish line. She didn't win first place. She didn't need to. She finished. The crowd erupted. Lily looked around, breathless, then found the Marine. She saw the tension in his shoulders, the way Rex leaned into him, protective even now. "What happened?" she asked as he approached. "Nothing," he said honestly. "Nothing that needed to last." She studied him, then smiled wide, triumphant, unafraid. "I ran," she said, "even when I was scared." The Marine nodded, emotion thick in his throat. "So did I." Later, as the crowd thinned and the sky softened into dusk, Lily sat beside him on the bench. Rex lay stretched between them, content. "Do you still think you failed?" she asked quietly. The Marine looked at his hands that had once held loss, and today held the present. "No," he said. "I think I survived long enough to learn what staying really means." She leaned back, satisfied. "Good, because I'm going to keep running. And I need you and Rex to keep showing up." He smiled. "Real one, unarmored." "We will." Snow began to fall again, light, gentle. Nothing like the storm before Dot as Lily's mother called her name. Lily stood, steady on her blade, strong on her crutches. She paused, saluted the Marine the way she'd seen him do once before. "Mission complete." She said. The Marine returned the salute. "Not quite," he replied. "Just ongoing." Lily laughed and walked away. Head high. Rex watched until she disappeared into the crowd, then looked up at the Marine. Eyes bright and certain. The Marine nodded, because some battles don't end with victory or defeat. Some end with a shared table, a caught fall, a promise kept, and hope quiet, stubborn, and a life stayed behind long after the track was empty. Thanks for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe and stay connected for more interesting stories.